Warning: the following podcast is brought to you by real officers in their fields of work. All stories told are accurate and will not disclose any names, dates, or locations of events. May contain contents about nudity, drugs, alcohol, and violence. Viewer discretion advised.
Welcome to Lawful Laughs, where we laugh about unlawful affairs. I'm your host, Officer Titan, with my co-host, Officer Coach. How we doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited for episode 2. We launched episode 1 New Year's Eve, I believe, right?
Yeah, it came out midnight of January 1st, so first episode, first year.
Our goal by the end of 2025 is obviously number 1 on the billboards. We know that's possible.
We got a long way to go, buddy.
Today we're going to be joined by Officer Hood and Officer Grace again. Officer Hood, Officer Grace, how are we doing tonight?
I'm okay.
I'm doing pretty good.
Good deal. So we got a little bit of a unique topic for us tonight. We're going to be talking about 1096. And if you're not big into the law enforcement field and 10 codes, 1096 is mental patient, some sort of crazy, as some people like to say. And there's a lot of these that can be talked on topic about. I'm sure you can walk down the street and see somebody that you think is 1096 just by looking at them per se. With that being said, I'm going to start things off, Coach, with unfortunately Radar. Officer Radar could not be with us tonight. He's currently on duty.
Yeah, sometimes stuff like that happens. People get called in. People can't be here for an episode. We want to try to have a consistent schedule with these episodes, so sometimes stuff like that might have to happen.
Indeed. So we'll start one off with something that I don't think anybody in this room right now knows. This story here. This happened about 2.5 years ago, and this individual came in very, very polite, very normal acting, until we started talking to her. And typically you kind of get a general feel for what somebody is on or has been on when you're talking with them. And you kind of get a feeling of, like, when you be in the field for so long, and you get this feeling of like, oh, they're maybe using methamphetamine, or maybe they're high on marijuana, or they're drunker than a skunk. So this person, we had no clue what this individual was on. And to immediately started booking this person in, and just was absolutely going perfect, very typical. And we get this individual in, and I think we get to about her couple questions on the initial intake process, and she starts screaming demonic sayings, like talking in tongues, or what people call tongues. Just, and I don't know if some people understood that or not, but I certainly did not.
Like religious talking in tongue, or just crazy talking in tongue?
Just absolutely crazy. Now, I've never witnessed an individual talking in like religious tongues. Now, I've seen videos and I've seen, movies and stuff of that nature, but this was just absolutely nonsense. And so I look at my partner and I said, well, this is going to go well. So we continue trying to do the intake process, and it's just getting worse. So in our old building, it was an old classic. Like, we as officers could be defined as turnkeys, like the actual definition of turnkeys. And there's a set of bars that were in the area of our intake, and she absolutely ran away from the booking window, jumped on the bars, started shaking like a monkey in a tree. and just going.
What the hell?
And I said, okay, we've got to do something with this person. So I was like, she's already in jail attire. It's time to go to the padded room. So we grabbed this person up by each arm, and we're like, all right, ma'am, come on. We're going to the padded room. And she immediately starts getting combative.
Awesome. So not to cut you off really quickly, but set the scene for us. So you said it was you and your partner, right? And are there any other officers in the area, or?
So we had 4 on duty that night, and it was myself and another officer in the intake area. I had 1 officer passing medication to the rest of the jail, and I had another officer monitoring camera footage of visitations. So technically, yes, we had 2 other officers there.
Okay.
But myself and my partner that I was with at the time I'm 6'4", 300 pounds. Okay. My partner was probably 6'2", 290.
Sure.
Thinking it is.
What's that, Officer Hood?
Is the person you're talking about who I think you're talking about?
I don't think so. This happened about 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, and I maybe you were there.
I wasn't there, but I'm talking about the officer.
Oh yeah. Yep. He's the one, and so I wasn't even concerned about calling backup because the individual that came in, she was probably 5'4", 112 pounds, maybe. So probably about almost 600 pounds of men right here. Like, oh, we can handle this, you know? So we get this female halfway to the padded cell, and she goes berserk. Yelling, screaming, kicking, hooting, hollering. And she came in with dreads. She had dreads in her hair. And absolutely just like ripping them out, throwing them at officers.
Oh.
Screaming that we're the devil and she's wrongfully arrested. All this nonsense.
Wait. Was this
Yes.
we had before?
You and I spoke about this individual not too long ago, referring to a taser incident.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, you no. I'm sorry, Hood. This is not that individual. This is prior to her. I know the one you're thinking about.
The one we had that was supposedly having the baby.
Yes, this is not her. Yeah.
Okay.
So now at this point, I radio for a couple of other officers to come over and assist because this 112-pound woman is taking on 2 300-pound men. And she ain't no joke.
Titan, it sounds to me like you guys just aren't it.
Sounds
Yeah,
sounds-
you got the ass beat.
Yeah, for real.
This night, we were not it. We were not it.
See, you had the wrong officers on duty. Should have had Officer Hood there.
Oh.
That is potentially could have helped. Never know. Every officer has a different way of dealing with a 1096 case, and some take closer liking to others. So, I mean, that very well could have been. So after I get these other 2 officers here, I'm like, okay, there's 4 grown men that are twice this woman's size. And I said, oh, we got this. This woman, we did not have this.
Sure.
I don't know how many times I can tell you I went through a couple of different law enforcement tactics and takedowns and pressure points and general areas that we can hit up to get what we need done. None of which were working. We, at the time, were using a tactical restraint system we called the restraint chair. Very simplistic. Strap your hands to the chair, strap your feet to the chair, strap your torso to the chair as well. And this woman was an absolute fucking spider monkey. Climbing around this chair, almost climbing on another officer.
Hey,
And at this point, I'm like, fuck it. Just throw this bitch in the padded room. Like, fuck this chair. Just throw her ass in there. So we did. And you thought it was a little humorous about this girl climbing the bars. You ought to see a human being scale a fucking padded room door.
How?
wow.
How?
I don't know. There was one option I was thinking of at this point, and I said, "This bitch is possessed. Like, this is some fucking exorcism bullshit, and I am not a priest by any means." I mean, I can go splash some holy water on this girl, but oh my god!
So at this point, this small woman has you scared for your life.
Oh.
I am generally terrified. I don't know how to even take this on. Like, I figured 2 300-pound men plus 2 other around 280, 260 are easily going to take a 110-pound woman. No, well, sadly was I wrong. Well, so then of course we can't treat this woman any different than you would any other inmate, arrestee, detainee, whatever, right? So we got to be able to give her access to a bathroom. We got to give her like water, general necessities. So she calms down. She goes to bed for, may I add, 15 minutes. Butt ass naked. Banging, screaming, yelling, pulling her dreads out. This girl had hair down to probably her armpit with her dreads. And the next time I opened the padded room cell, she had hair shorter than mine. And I was like, oh boy. And then my next question was, where are the dreads?
Oh, she ate them?
She ate them.
Oh my god.
This bitch is going to be shitting hair for months.
I would have thought she put
Just
it
coughs up at a hairball?
So I don't know what end is coming out, buddy, but it's coming.
Was she black?
Yes, she was she was a colored race, yes. And I tell you what, so I popped a little viewport of the padded room door, and I saw that this woman had just transformed. I was like, buddy, where did her hair go? Now, to give you a little bit of picture of our padded room, there's a drain in the center in case they want to like just try to be piss all over the floor or whatever. There's a drain. It could be flushed. Well, I thought, okay, maybe the hair's in the drain. Nope. As I open the window, she's eating it. And what do you do? What do you do with that? Do you just stop eating hair? Like, I mean, it's her hair. Am I going to go yank her hair that she's already removed and say, bad? Like, keep in mind, I'm in a jail as an officer. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a mental health specialist. I work in law enforcement. How am I combating this?
You really don't. Honestly. I mean, you
got to
don't.
treat them like others. So,
Yeah.
like, but you also know you got to, as your duty, you can't let them harm themselves. Well, I mean, Officer Hood, you are of a colored descent, correct?
I am.
Okay. So a little bit of input on you is if you are a female and you have dreads and you rip this out of your hair, is that not painful, or is this just something that y'all can do?
Depending on how they are attached, it can be painful. But also coming from that is that I know in more of like the urban city areas, the jail settings, if a woman comes in with hair extensions into the jail, they have to be taken out before they can even get moved into general population.
Okay, so generally they'd have to be removed. And in that case, obviously now in our facility we didn't remove their hair extensions, and I understand African American males and females can do a lot more with their hair, with like extensions and weaves and things of that nature, that I don't know what is what. I can't tell if a black female has a weave in or if it's her rear hair. No idea. But anyway, moving forward, I won't make this take too long, but one of the key points of this is this woman was so crazy that not only did she bounce around the room like an animal, we popped the door to give her chow. She smacked the chow absolutely out of her hands, jumped on it like I don't even know what, some sort of animal, like just absolutely jumping on it, smashing it, and wanted to fight to get out of the room. So obviously us as officers, the three of us are there at each time we open the door now. We absolutely are not going to let this woman out of the room. Now, if I believe all of us have experienced the old facility at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. So we knew that when you shut that padded room door, it was flush with the wall. Okay. This individual, we shoved her back into the room, and it was a quick motion, shove, slammed the door. I look down, and this bitch's fingers is outside of the door.
What?
Oh,
This door is completely shut and locked. And you just see little fingies just like moving. And I looked at him and I was like, shit, open the door, open the door, open the door. So we opened the door, and out of nowhere, she looks at us, the most calm I've ever seen this woman, and goes, "You dumbass motherfuckers, that hurt." And I was like, I bet it did. Needless to say, she didn't have any broken bones, anything, or anything of that nature. And I just dropped my phone on my fucking toe.
hey.
Anyway, so this, we come to find out, after about 3 weeks of this, she was released after medical staff and went through all their testing and stuff and sent off for it. Come to find out, this girl, I don't know if she really was 1096, because she came back on a extreme dose of bath salts. So I've never seen this woman again, and I praise to God I don't ever see her. I don't know. I'm leaving. I'm going home. I'm sick.
Oh, that's an experience. I mean, at what point do you just give up and walk her out of the door? I mean, she barely felt you closing her fingers in the door. She's jumping on the food you give her. She's climbing the
door.
bars. I mean, what do you like? At that point, she's just possessed. I mean, it's just Satan.
That's
it's
exactly
the devil.
what we thought.
You call. I mean, what do you do?
Let's just say, if I was sheriff, that individual would not be in my jail. I am not a mental institution. You get this thing out of here. You call a priest, because I'm not.
Yeah.
Nope.
So earlier you mentioned all of this happened while you were booking her in. What was the final book-in like?
So after we had 2 officers hold her for pictures,
Okay.
and I'll have to give you some details when I'm on duty, and give you this individual, show you this individual. We had to hold her for photos, so we had to take like 3 or 4 different photos, because there was like officer arms, one of them got side of his face, terrible. So we kind of had her we started asking her questions through the door. You know, do you have any diseases? Are you on any medications? Which is just stupid because obviously she's not. And it was the absolute most simplistic, quickest way that we could figure out just from experience to jot down to get this person into the system.
Definitely sounds. Bath salts will do it. That'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think my funniest experience with somebody who is 1096 came when we were at our old facility. We had two we had a padded cell and 2 segregation cells.
Oh God.
This inmate was in one of our segregation cells, and in this segregation cell there were 2 separate cells. So you could technically have a bunkie in the segregation cell with you.
Nice.
Obviously we weren't rooming this man with anybody because I mean he was crazy. He like I think the hardest part about describing his status mentally is like being able to put it into words. Like this man would just say things. He would like say his number and ask people to check his Facebook account and
Did we ever check his Facebook?
oh yeah. Just weird things like that. He would say his own name, like he could never just, for example, if his name was Caleb, he could never just say, "Hi, I'm Caleb." It had to be full legal first, middle, last name.
Nice. Like, as
So
if I don't know who you are already.
yeah. So I'm passing this inmate chow one day, and I give him his food, and he decides that he doesn't want his food or whatever. So he grabs the tray and then drops it. And at this point, I'm like, "Hey, man, like, what are you doing that for?" And he has this way of looking at you where like his pupils are so undilated. He looks like a cartoon character. And so he just looked at me like I was an idiot, and I went on with it about my day. Well, he likes to do this thing where he starts banging on the walls and kicking the walls. So when officers respond, he can then ask them what time it is.
All this for what time is it?
Yeah. So one time I go there, and this is a very short story. I don't have much experience with 1096 inmates. Nothing nearly as funny. I mean, I've fought some and had interesting experiences with them, but this one always stands out to me. So I go. I know exactly what he's about to ask me. But this time I decided, you know what? I was a very new officer at the time. I had been employed at my county's jail maybe 3 months. I decided, you know what? This guy is going to listen to me. I'm not going to tell him what time it is. I'm going to tell him the business.
You're going to tell
So
him a business?
yeah, the
Oh,
business. I'm going to tell him
okay.
the
You're
business.
giving him the business. Gotcha.
Oh yeah. So I open his door. I'm like, "Hey man, what do you want?" He's like, "What time is it?" Officer Coach, what time is it? No man, this isn't how you get officers to tell you stuff. You can ask it during walkthroughs. Like, you're wasting my time. And again, he gives me that stare. He looks at me like I'm an idiot. He goes, "What did you say?" Which is weird for him because he always speaks gibberish. Like he'll just say whatever comes to his head, he'll say, and he can't hear you when you're speaking to him unless he wants to hear you. So this time he looks at me and he goes, "What did you say?" I said, "This isn't how you get my attention. You need to wait." And this guy looks at me. He's processing what I said. He looks at me, says his full legal name, right? I don't know what's a fake name. Caleb Reed Salmons.
Salmons like it.
Do not ever want to see your fucking face in my goddamn cell again. He said that verbatim to me. Now obviously he's upset because I told him the business. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I walk away, and 10 minutes later, he's asking me what time it is, and my ass told him the time. I told him the
Now, were
time.
you on a walkthrough at this point to where he wasn't wasting time?
No. 10 minutes later, he went right back to kicking the walls and doing whatnot. Like, but this guy was crazy. I mean, he would sit and watch just TV static.
So he did have a TV in
mean-
his room.
No, these are previous stories I've heard of a time he was in a cell with a TV in his
Okay,
room that he
okay.
did not have access to.
Officer Code. The most funny situation is the fake peeing.
Oh yeah, he would. Yeah. Oh yes, that was another way he would ignore you. He would act like he was pissing, and you knew he wasn't pissing. You didn't hear any water hitting water. It was just he would just sit there and ignore you.
Don't forget the.
Oh yeah, with those lifeless eyes, like you're inconveniencing him so bad. Just the.
Or when he really wants something from you. Hey, you look good today. How's your day going?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it's nice to see you. That's what he says. It's good to see you.
I got some commissary out there. I was wondering if I can get 3 ramen chili noodles and a Diet Coke and
Can you hand me those 6 salt packets on the floor right there?
But yeah, that's probably my craziest experience with a 1096 inmate. I mean, there was one inmate we had where he'd like to spit at you, and so you'd bring a riot shield with you when you wanted to hand him his food, and sometimes he'd spit at you, other times he wouldn't. He was never able to hit me though, because I'm him. I'm fast like that. I'm quick with it.
Oh,
I think you were just too scared to go in.
Oh, buddy, I
Well-
was so new. He had me terrified. I thought he was good. I mean, honestly, some of these guys are so crazy. Like, it really makes you sit and wonder. Like, if I left him unattended for 15 minutes with another human being, like, would he eat them? Like, honestly, honestly, like, do you think people like that? Like, I mean, first of all, I don't think the sane human being is making it out alive. Regardless, 15 minutes, whether or not they get eaten, beaten to death, strangled to death, I don't think they're making it out alive. I just don't.
You know what? I have to disagree with that because I feel like if, depending on what inmate you put in there with him, it's gonna be a toss up, you know, because they're not gonna hear the crazy. They just gonna start throwing hands.
That's true. That's true. Well, yeah, you might put an inmate in there that knows how to defend themselves, but if you just put some random John Doe in there, they might just get eaten. Like, I don't know, man. These crazy people are crazy.
But I guess to piggyback off of what Officer Titan was saying, like, yeah, you know, obviously we see a lot of them come in and out the jail, you know, here and there, and it's really hard to, unless you really know that they have a mental, you know, problem. It's kind of hard to just, you know, to distinguish whether or not it is, you know, real or fake. I mean, let's take it, you know, let's go back to what, I don't know, a week or two ago. We got that one guy. We all thought that, you know, he was, you know, had some mental issues, but, you know, come find out it was his, you know, blood levels that weren't, you know, on the correct level.
Oh, yeah.
That made him have these, you know, out of control, sporadic behaviors that he was having. So, where we want to think that everybody who comes in is either, you know, high off something, drunk off their mind, or whatever going on, you know, we really don't know because we can think that they're crazy, but it could be something as a low sodium level or a too high of a level that causes these behaviors that mimic the same behaviors that somebody who has a mental disorder would.
Yeah, you got a good point. That kind of leads back to, like, I mentioned that we're not medical professionals. I mean, we see what we see when they come in. I mean, they get dumped on us, really, and we have to, like, adapt and overcome. And Officer Hood is very right about the fact that you don't know, but you grow accustomed to, like, oh, well, here we are, another dude whacked out on meth. And you're right, we don't know. And because after medical sees them and they actually get evaluated and get the proper evaluation and treatment that they need, they could be the most average, normal human being that you come across.
Mm.
I've witnessed a few of those. It's kind of really just amazing what medications in today's world can do. And
oh yeah,
not saying that everybody needs to be forced on medication, but there's some people out there that truly do need medicated.
oh yeah, or else they'll probably start eating people.
But I guess the reality of it is that, let's say, hypothetically, let's go back to this particular inmate that, you know, spat at us, you know, smeared poop all over the place, you know, would talk to us calm 1 second and 30 seconds later have his dick in his hand and be ready to fucking kill us. Like, obviously,
That's very specific.
Did he try to kill you with
this
his
guy
dick in his
went
hand?
through I'm serious. Like there were times that I was there past like, doing head count or passing chow, and he was like, like, hey, can you stand for head count? And he, you knew he had a look about him. Like if he gave you a thumbs up, you knew that okay, you can probably get a couple sentences into him, and he'd be cool. But if he turned his head like he was some type of exorcist head turn, like you knew, like stand back, because by the time chow comes, you're gonna get spit on. But obviously, the guy, was shipped out and taken to a mental hospital and was medicated and came back like brand fucking new. I didn't even recognize the dude. Like he had his weight, he gained some weight. He was actually holding conversations with us. So you get him through
Even to put in the
that.
general population.
You get them through
Right,
all
right.
that, and they either go their way to prison or they, are released from the jail, and they go back to their everyday reality. Who's to say that they're going to keep getting that medication that's going to keep as they are or were when they left our
Right.
jail
And we just turn around and see him again.
get back, and all of that work that they had to go into getting that inmate to that point of getting medications or being treated at a mental facility that could help them. All that hard work is undone, and I often think about, like, I wonder how that particular inmate is doing, like, because if his family's not able to keep him up with getting him to see a psychiatrist to get those injections, whatever you take to keep him healthy, he's just going to be back on the street, and God knows what he's going to get into this time. He's going to cross the wrong person, and that person's like, oh.
Yeah, and that's how you truly can tell that somebody was actually 1096, because they went off to the correct facility that they needed to be in, gotten medication, was taking medication, and now is a normal, what we foresee as a normal individual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is crazy the things that modern medicine can do. I mean, it can be the difference between somebody spouting off about how Carmelo Anthony people never should have thought Carmelo Anthony was going to get drafted by LeBron James to holding genuine conversations in general population. I mean, I mean that's a conversation I had with an individual. I opened his cell door and he told me that people in 04 were morons for thinking somebody like Carmelo Anthony should be drafted over. And I mean, to be fair, he's right, but still, like, it's crazy the things that these people just think of that they literally don't know any better.
Yeah.
This is a little off topic, but I'm gonna tell you guys this true story that just recently happened to me. So it's New night, I finally decided, what, I'm gonna go out and, be an adult and do some adulting and, have me a few drinks and toast the new year with my partner and, and just have time. So obviously, I'm an African American female. I, live in a predominantly, white area, which doesn't bother me. But I think to people who don't see me that much, never met me.
Sure.
From what I've been told, I'm this exotic person. So I'm used to, guys hitting on me, women hitting on me, just like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, and your skin tone, doesn't bother me. So I get into this bar. I'm starving at this point, so all I want to do is eat so I can drink. So I sit down, I order my food, and I got my little cocktail going, just trying to enjoy the music and the atmosphere. I'm waiting to get on the pool table, and this guy comes up behind
We're getting
me.
on the pool table, or we're playing pool?
I'm playing. I want to get on the pool table. Shut up.
Okay.
So it's kind of crazy how I feel like my spidey senses go off a little bit, but I don't want to call it spidey senses. It's more like my officer radar goes off. So I'm sitting here, and this guy comes up, and he's like, "Oh, you're very pretty, you're very attractive," and he starts going into this conversation about uh, how about him and his sister are real ghetto, and I'm like, in my mind thinking like, why in the fuck is this guy talking to me about being ghetto? Because the one thing that you shouldn't go up to a black person and say is ghetto, because like, are you associating ghetto with someone being African American or whatever? So I'm trying to be nice, holding conversation. He's talking about Drake and his favorite songs and being ghetto and this and that. I'm like, okay, dude, like I just want to sit here and eat my chicken strips and fries and enjoy my drink and enjoy my night. So he walks away. Like,
does that define ghetto chicken strips and fries?
No, I don't know. I think it was just black. I don't know, but so I
So
go
he
back.
just automatically assumed you were ghetto because you were of a colored descent.
Yes. So I go back to eat my food, and people I know are coming into the bar, so I'm whatever. And not even 2 seconds later, this guy again, and he's still trying to hold this conversation. At some point, he asks me to dance. He asked me about my outfit. Said that my perfume that I had on was arousing him, and I'm just thinking like, this dude is just either thirsty or he just never seen a fucking black woman before. So
Maybe a little bit of
my
both.
my friend comes in, and I'm like, I'm giving me this eyes, like my eyes are big. I'm like, dude, fucking help me, like, this dude just a little creepy. So I don't know, about 20 minutes passes by, and in between this 20-minute time, he's come to me, said something to me, walked away, came back, walked away, came back. And finally, I'm just like, dude, get the fuck away from me. Like, I'm not interested. I don't want to dance to you. I don't want nothing from you. I'm not here for you. I'm here with my girlfriend. Like, leave me the fuck alone. So
Right.
He gets the message. He walks away, and the dude is like sitting with, I guess, his dad or a friend or something like that. And he gets up, and all you hear is this big thump. And I turned around, and this dude literally like ate the floor. Like, he just face meets floor, floor meets face, like busted his shit good. So the guy he's with ends up taking him out of the bar or whatever. They leave for the night. And I talked to the one guy who was still sitting at the table. I was like, "Hey, is that your son?" He was like, "No, he's just my friend's my buddy's friend or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, the guy's schizophrenic." And I'm thinking like, my fucking God, like, why in the hell would you bring someone who is in our world 1096 to a damn bar and be fucking whiskey? Here I am thinking the dude's fucking drunk, and this dude is actually fucking crazy. And then I'm thinking like, oh God, it's New Year's Eve night, which means we know cops are out. They're probably, pulling people over for drinking and driving. I'm like, good Lord, if he ends up in K County, and I'm sitting here thinking like, oh my God, thank God, I'm so lucky that we're not in our county, because that means if this motherfucker gets picked up, not only did I have to encounter this dude in the bar, but now I'm gonna have to come back to fucking work and encounter this motherfucker.
Yeah, that would definitely be a scene for sore eyes there.
Oh my God.
Well, I think with that, we can start wrapping the episode up, guys. It was a pretty good episode of Lawful Laughs, everybody. My name is Officer Coach. I'm joined by my host, Officer Titan, with some special guests, Officer Grace and Officer Hood. Officer Radar, we miss you. We love you. Get well soon. Come back.
Get well soon from duty.
I mean, he's not. So he's on.
Thank you. This has been Lawful Laughs.